Back in Europe, they were held to account.
Their vocation was to defend the holy places, and they failed. I mean, everybody's poured all this money in over centuries now on the basis that they would guard the Christian places. It hasn't worked.
The reputation of the once great Templars was now in tatters. On Friday, 13th October 1307, the King of France ordered their arrest.
He accused them of denying Christ, spitting on the cross, urinating on the cross. He accused them of homosexual practices. He accused them of worshipping idols, of worshipping heads.
Their mysterious rituals were challenged, in particular the secret reception ceremony where new knights were sworn into the Brotherhood.
There were mutterings about what could possibly be happening behind these closed doors. If it was a good thing, like the Templars said, and holy and honest, why can't we go in to see? They must be up to something horrible and obscene in there that they want to keep a secret. There's no smoke without fire.
The Templars were interrogated under brutal torture.
There was one record of a Templar priest whose feet were held over a fire, and the soles of his feet were burned until a few days later the bones fell out. There were other Templars who were hung from the ceilings of dungeons and had weights attached to their feet or even their sensitive private parts, and then dropped.
These broken men confessed to everything from idol worship to sodomy.
We know that today you can make a man suffer enough that you can make him say anything. And that fact alone makes historians suspect that the charges against the Templars were not true.
In March 1314, the Templars were found guilty en masse. The Grand Master was burned at the stake, and the knights disbanded.
Listen, what that was a double cross. You know, since the churches had failed and they had no need for them anymore, they did what they do best. They tortured them and murdered them. This is when they was really just out open and with the shit and didn't care. Nowadays they take you and hide you somewhere and do all of it. Back in them days, because the earth was so slow as far as technology and get around news and capability and all that, they didn't care. They had places like the London Tower. You just need to do research and see how horrible these people are, the stuff they've done. And then what I'm saying to you is, they tortured dude because he was involved with people that get down like that, and that's what he was doing. Talking about they were guarding churches. You know what they were doing? They were going around as muscle for the church, making people who owe the church money pay up. And as you can see right here, there's that female that I always tell you about that's synonymous with us. Okay, so we know who built that. We already know they came in and stole all this stuff from us. After the Moors had left Spain and Europe and every place they were at, all these structures were still here that was built by the Moors. And the Europeans just moved into them. Because it was the Europeans who helped the Moors leave. The double cross I'm telling you about. All the time.
When an organization as big, grand, and powerful as this one falls, conspiracy theories will inevitably develop.
Look, let me show you what I'm talking about. See, this is mummification.
The Templars were found guilty en masse. The Grand Master was burned at the stake, and the knights disbanded. When an organization as big, grand, and powerful as this one falls,
Look at this. You see the wrapping of all that straws and stuff like that? All of this stuff right here is stolen from Kemetic people. Every bit of it. You can see it. How they got him wrapped in, like they call swaddling clothing, putting him to rest. All this stuff is all ancient black people stuff. You know, you white people had them big ass boxes and all that crazy stuff and all this woo 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 and everything was just so, you know what I'm saying, unnatural, because that's how y'all get out. You make where you destroy living things to bury dead things. Well, you can see right here, everything about this guy getting put to rest is probably as natural as possible, which can show you a lot of this stuff that went on in Europe was the continuation of the culture of people synonymous with the Nile Valley region of Northeast Africa, who had just moved up north and colonized up there when the season was good And the ones who didn't mind the snow stayed there. But the ones who didn't fancy the snow much, they went back and forth, according to how they fancied the weather. But what I'm trying to get at to you guys is that the temples all over this planet, the Europeans is just going to have to face the fact without getting mad at me that lies I've been told about who are the people who brought us all this architectural work. And it wasn't you guys. It was us melanated people. And if you guys does not dichotomize, if you stop dichotomizing yourself away from us, then you could fit in the equation of all of us as Earth people being responsible for what happens to the Earth from this point on, without no separation of one from the other. But we already know that you Europeans are going to remain the way you are because that's what is privileging to you, and it gives you an advantage over the other people. The problem is the other people not even waking up. It's not part of what's going to be going down to make your privilege area be removed. It is ordained universally by the Son, who is omnipotent and can do whatever it wants without the help of anyone. Me talking to you all is not because I have to come down here and beg you to do anything. It is because the Son is very considerate of you and has given you a chance to comply before it burns your non-compliant asses up.
Conspiracy theories will inevitably develop. The most enduring myth is that of the Holy Grail and the Templars' quest to find it. It has gripped Western imagination more than any other legend.
In the trial proceedings, in the interrogations, this thing isn't mentioned. If the Templars had it in their possession, this would have come to light in the trial proceedings. It's not mentioned at all.
The destruction of their records in the 16th century by Turkish invaders means there will always be an air of mystery about the Knights Templar.
The Templars' obsession with secrecy and their interest in relics and arcane rituals means that in many respects they're their own worst enemy. They go from the heroes of Christendom and they fall and they're the bad guys.
Today, everyone knows the Knights Templar for the mystique that surrounds them. But their buildings defended the Holy Land for almost 200 years. Now they're slowly crumbling into the landscape. And so it seems the mythical status of the Templars will outlive their lost world.
America has become little Nibiru. And
so you can know, the Knight Templars are the Nordic angels who they say went to Lalibela and built that temple that was there, that was carved into the ground that I showed you. They also want to have credit for being the people who built that also, which we know is a bunch of bullshit, because why would they build it in Ethiopia? See, lies, lies, lies.
Asserts the highest steeple for same-sex marriages in this causal movie timeline. Today is Thursday, July the 11th, 2013, and I need you, my wonderful YouTube family members out there, to share this information I'm giving you with as many others as you can find. Because at this point in time, this cosmic science is the only thing which can heal their bodies, minds, and souls and liberate them from the claws of this beast and his destructive albino poisons. From the white sugar, salt, and flour to the CIA's crack and cocaine poppy field wars disguised as delivering democracy. Yes, you, my great gods and goddesses, as you should have learned from the previous lessons, the things the Caucasian envisions their super white comic book characters doing, as well as the British leprechauns doing, only heavily melanin dominant humans can do, especially if they are starseed humans, meaning they incarnated here on this planet Earth from their previous incarnations on suns as solar beings. By the way, the British leprechauns were what we call the Twa, those who set up ancient Egypt, and today are known as the Pygmies. Of course, the Hebrew priests, soothsayers know these truths, but keep them hidden because what the melanin dominant people can do is completely impossible for any of them to do. Their agenda is to steal planet Earth for their reptilian masters, and this can be done if black people are unconscious of who and what they are. After all, inducing the current sleep of melanated people worldwide by a religion took hundreds of years of brutal oppression and the erasing of the memory bank of self. The evil forces introduced religion into the lives of their victims for the purpose of wiping clean the memory bank of the melanin-dominant humans and keeping the non-melanin humans in abject darkness forever, and believing that they are the highest being on the totem pole because their skin and hair is white, and that they love to eat human flesh and drink human blood like the royal families of Europe do, in order to keep them completely brainwashed and under their dominance and controlling factors. Now, let me put this Nazi baby to death, claiming inheritance to the inner earth. The Alpha Draconian reptilians refer to themselves as Aryans, spelled A-R-I-A-N-S. Wow, the humanoids they produced here on Earth are the Aryans, spelled A-R-Y-A-N-S. So here's where the Nazi Aryans go wrong about having bloodline on the inner Earth. It was the A-R-I-A-N-S who were the beast attempting to dominate the inner Earth after having been invited to live there, but were soon kicked out by the superior 16 feet tall black advanced humans who have a beam weaponry which would eviscerate them, meaning that not even a speck of dust was left. So no, there is no Nazi Aryan family bloodline on the inner Earth. So the exterior Nazis, you put that shit to death yourself, because it is a major, major fraud which you can't roll with. Not while I'm here. And yes, it was the Israeli Mossad and the American secret Hebrew/Aryan secret government known as the Illuminati that did 9/11 and blamed it on the Iraqis via their libelous media controlling what the public hears, sees, and reads. Like Jordan Maxwell says, we are under the control of a very powerful secret society of the Knights of Malta and the Knights Templars, and they call it law and order, while in reality they are not.